Hello everybody and welcome to this first video in the Complete Rock Guitar Beginners course. So in this course we're going to take you from the complete beginner level where you don't know how to play anything on guitar, don't even know how to hold it, and then we're going to take you through to the level where you're a competent player, you know how to play some really cool riffs and songs, and you'll have the tools that you need so that when you come across something new or you want to learn a different style or a new song, you can do it on your own without having to have the assistance of a teacher. Okay? So it's about giving you those tools so that you can do it on your own. So if you want to learn stuff like this, then this is the course for you. Okay, let's dive in. Okay then guys, so the first thing I'd like to do is show you the rock song that we're going to learn in this lesson. It sounds cool, but it uses some really simple techniques and it's easy to play. Here it is. There we go guys, so as you can see, you should be able to learn that fairly quickly. Now the backing track that I was using is completely free, available from my website, so that's in the description below, so you can grab that, download it, and then you can practice along to the track to make sure that you're in time, and so that you can play along to a professional track with drums, bass, and some more guitar behind it as well, so that'll help to make it sound a bit cooler. Okay, on with the lesson. So then guys, the first riff in this beginner song that we're going to learn today is this. There we go. And it uses what's called a power chord. Now a power chord is a chord that's made up of two notes and we use them a lot in rock. So the first power chord that we're going to learn is really nice and simple. Now when you're playing guitar, it's important that you use a pick for rock because a pick will give you the right kind of tone that you need, okay? So I'm holding the pick between my index finger and my thumb here. You can also hold it between your middle finger and your thumb if you prefer, although most people do prefer the index. Now what you need to do is put your hand on the guitar next to this bit here. Now this will probably be silver on your guitar. This is called a bridge, okay? And this is what attaches the strings to the body. So your elbow is over here. So this is my elbow, obviously, and it's not on the guitar, but my forearm is on the guitar. My forearm rests on this part here. And then once I've rested my forearm there, then that means that my hand is placed next to the bridge here, so it's nice and easy to pluck the strings. So in this example, the first chord that we need to play is this. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my pick and I'm strumming the middle two strings on the guitar. So on an electric guitar we have 6 strings. So this is the lowest sounding string. So this one sounds the lowest. And then this one down here sounds the highest. So we can number these strings, so we can number them 1, starting with the highest string, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So in this example, for this first chord, we're strumming strings 3 and 4, okay? So you take your pick and you place it between the 4th and 5th strings, and then you strum the 4th and 3rd strings together, like this. Now you can do that by moving your wrist, or you can do it by moving your fingers, like that. It doesn't matter at this stage, we're just trying to get some music, okay? We can think about technique later. So that's the first chord we're strumming. And in this riff, we strum that twice in a row. Like that, okay? So practice just this motion. Now make sure that you're not accidentally strumming any of the other strings when you do this. So make sure that you're not accidentally strumming string 2 or string 5 or any of the other strings, because if it sounds like this, then it just sounds like a mess, okay? And we're not getting any real music there. So make sure you strum strings numbers 3 and string number 4. If you do that, then it'll sound like this. Okay? So the next chord we're going to play is on those same 2 strings, so it's the same for your picking hand. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our index finger on our left hand and we're going to place it here, okay? So I've got my thumb behind the neck on the guitar, so this is the neck of the guitar, and the piece of wood on the front is called the fretboard. Now these metal bars are called the frets, okay? So if I put my finger here, where the first dot marker is, that's fret number 3, because we've got 1, 2, and then 3, and we're playing here, in this gap where the 3rd fret is. So I'm placing my index finger down on the 3rd and 4th strings on the 3rd fret, okay? And then we strum those 3rd and 4th strings, and we get this. Okay? So once you can do that, then the next stage is to move up to the 5th fret, which is obviously 2 frets higher. So that's where the next dot on the neck is. So these dots are helpful to tell you which fret you're playing on, okay? So in this example, the next chord is on the 5th fret, and then we again use our index finger and press it down so that we're pressing down the 3rd and 4th strings, and then we pluck those strings. Like that, okay? Now, often when people are learning this, they'll struggle to press down both strings at the same time with their index finger, and they're trying to do it, but they're just getting like a muted sound. It doesn't sound like a proper note, okay? Like that. So if that happens, if you'll notice when I was doing that, my thumb was over the top of the neck like this. That can be useful for some things when we get onto some more advanced techniques, but for now, make sure your thumb is behind the neck on the guitar. It's about there, my thumb. And then when you place your index finger on the fret there, that means your thumb and your index finger can squeeze together, and they'll squeeze the strings onto the fretboard so that you can play the notes cleanly. Okay? So that's what this chord sounds like. So far we've learned the open chord, and then we've learned this one where our index finger is on the 3rd fret. And then we've learnt this one where our index finger is on the 5th fret. Okay, so let's try playing our basic riff, and then we'll go through when to play which chord, okay? So as you can see, we repeated the same thing twice there, and that's what makes it a riff, because it's the same motif that's repeated multiple times in a song to give it a sense of structure, okay? So one repeat of our riff is like this. So there, what I'm doing is strumming the open 3rd and 4th strings twice. And then I'm strumming with my index finger on the 3rd fret. And then I'm strumming with the open strings again. and then I'm strumming with my index finger on the 5th fret, and then I'm holding that note for twice as long as I've held the other notes. And then I do the same thing and hold the note for a long time again, but this time the note we're playing is on the 3rd fret. Like that, okay? So we'll play it really nice and slowly, and then we'll go through it again to make sure you've got it. So it goes... like that, okay? So 2 strums of the open strings, and then put my index finger on the 3rd fret on the 3rd and 4th strings, remembering to keep my thumb firmly behind the neck and not over the top. And then I strum that again. And then I strum the open strings again. And then I move my hand up to the 5th fret where the 2nd dot is, and put my index finger there. And then move down to the 3rd fret and put my index finger there and play that note as well. Okay, so once again our full riff is this. So once you've practiced that for a little while, it might take a while to get it up to speed. That's absolutely normal, okay? Most people underestimate the amount of time that it's going to take them to learn the guitar, but remember, it's absolutely worth it when you've got it in the end, okay? So practice it for a little while, maybe come back to it in the next day if you want, or in a, I don't know, maybe even a week's time if you want to, but just stick with it, and then eventually you will get it down, okay? And once you can do that, then you can start to play it a bit up to speed, so... Notice there I added an ending onto our riff. I played it 3 times and then I did the ending. So the ending for this one is really nice and simple. It's just... So there, what I'm doing is I'm strumming our open 3rd and 4th strings again. Like that. And then I'm fretting the 3rd fret, 3rd and 4th strings with my index finger. And then I'm strumming the open strings again and just leaving them. Okay? So once you've got this down, you can try it with the backing track. So the link to the backing track is in the description below. You can download that from my website. It's all free. And once you can play that to the backing track, then we can move on to the next part of the song. Okay? Right then, so now we've mastered the first part of our song, the verse, if you will. It's time to move on to the next section. So in this next section of the song, we're going to be using exactly the same chords again, but we are going to add in one new one, okay? But we're using the same technique to play it. So we're still going to be on the 3rd and 4th strings for the whole of this section. So let me play it for you. So as you can see, it's really nice and simple, and it's quite slow, so that makes it good for a beginner, but it still sounds good, especially when you start playing it with the backing track. So for this example, I'm starting here on the 7th fret now, and I'm doing the same thing as what we were doing before with the chords. So I've got my index finger on my left hand, and I'm placing that on the 7th fret, again with my thumb firmly behind the neck. So don't put your thumb over the neck when you're doing this, because it'll make it more difficult to press the strings down. Keep your thumb behind the neck, and then put your index finger on the 3rd and 4th strings and squeeze together just like this, and then you'll press the strings down to the fretboard, okay? So you can tell this is the 7th fret because it's the 3rd dot along. So on the first dot, that was our 3rd fret, and then the next dot along on the neck is the 5th fret, and then the next dot is the 7th fret, okay? Because obviously the frets go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So this is how the chord sounds when you play it. So just get used to making sure that you can press that together nicely. Now try and keep your hands relaxed if you can, because if you tense up your hands, like this, and you're making a fist and you're using all the muscles up here, that makes it more difficult to play the guitar. So it might make it more easy in the short term when you're trying to just get the strings down and just get a note out. But if you actually want to play good rock guitar, then staying relaxed is the best idea. Okay, so try and stay relaxed as you do this, and that goes for both hands. Don't try and strum the strings really hard. Instead, just pick them nice and lightly and let your amplifier do the rest, okay? That's what it's there for. So again, this is what that chord sounds like when you play it cleanly. So when I say play this cleanly, what I mean is all of the notes are ringing out like, well, clean, I guess. They're all ringing out as they should. There isn't any extra noise there that shouldn't be. None of the other strings are ringing out when they shouldn't. So you're playing the chord correctly as it should be played. So if it's not clean, then you'll get a sound like this. Something like that. So it doesn't really sound like you're successfully playing any music there. But if you play it cleanly like this, then it sounds much better. Okay? So that's the first chord, so that's on the 7th fret, and again, 3rd and 4th strings. And then the next chord in this example is on the 5th fret, and we do exactly the same thing, playing the same strings again, just like we did before. And then on the next example, the next chord, we play the 3rd fret, just like this. And then we play the 5th fret again. And then we repeat that, okay? So we go... Even I made a mistake there, but you get the idea, so we go... and then back to that one, okay? So again, even I'm making mistakes with this, so don't feel bad if you don't get it straight away. It will take time, but it's absolutely worth it once you do. Because once we can play these few chords, as you'll see in the future lesson videos, we'll be doing so much with this. You'll be able to play loads of riffs, loads of songs, and you'll even be able to create some of your own, okay? So now that we've got that next section sorted, we can put the two sections together. So you could call this our chorus of the song, if you like. So far we've got a verse and we've got a chorus. So then if we put these together, then we'll have almost the whole song, okay? So this is how it sounds. Go straight back into the verse again after that, if we like. So in our example, with the backing tracks that we played at the beginning, we play the verse and then the chorus, and then we play that again. So then we do another verse and we do another chorus, and that's when we go into the next section. Okay, so let's learn what that is now. Right then, so far we've learnt the verse of our song and we've learnt the chorus, okay? So we're nearly there into learning a full rock song. So the final section that's left is the ending to the song, and this builds up, okay? So this is like a nice big build-up ending to end with a bang. So this is the ending of the song. I'll play it once through for you, and then we'll go through which chords we use and how to play them, okay? So there's the ending to our song. So in this ending section, again, we're using the same techniques. We're using the same sort of things that we've used in the verse and in the chorus, but we're just moving them up the neck, okay? So when I say up the neck, I mean we're moving closer to the body of the guitar. So this around here is low down the neck, and up here means high up the neck, okay? And as you can see, the frets get closer together as we go higher. But don't worry, that doesn't mean it's more difficult to play. Some of the beginners' methods I've seen out there say that it's more difficult to play up here, but that's not true at all. It just depends on what you're playing, okay? So the first chord we play for our ending is this again, just a nice open chord, strumming the 3rd and 4th strings together. Okay, by now you should be really good at that. So now we play the 3rd fret. So again, we're using our index finger to bar. So when I say bar, what I mean is that we're using one finger to press down more than one string. So here, I'm using my index finger to press down the 3rd and the 4th strings, like we've been doing with everything. So that's called barring, okay? And then as we go into the future lessons, we'll be barring across more strings and doing lots of cool things, okay? But for now, 2 strings is cool. So I'm pressing down the 3rd and 4th strings with my index finger, and then strumming those with my pick, okay? And then next we do the same thing, but now we're going on to the 5th fret again, just like we've done before. And then again, I can do the same thing, but on the 7th fret. So if you remember, the 7th fret was where the 3rd dot is. Now if you are in doubt, you can just count the frets if you need to, but the dots are nice so that you've got that reference point when you're playing so that you can hit the right fret, okay? So this is the 7th fret. Okay, and now we're moving higher up the neck than we did in the verse and the chorus. So this helps to build it up and make the end of the song sound like it's really something. You know, this is what the whole song is built up to, this big ending. So now I'm going way up here. Now this is the 10th fret, okay? So all of these dot markers, each one marks out a specific fret that makes it easier for us to play. So the first dot marker, as we've said, is the 3rd fret. This one is the 5th fret. This one is the 7th fret. And this one is the 9th fret. Now here, you can see I've got this symbol on my fretboard. On most guitars, this is 2 dots together, okay? And where you've got the 2 dots, or a symbol, or sometimes a bar, that's the 12th fret there. Now, this chord that we're playing next is on the 10th fret. So it's 1 fret higher than this dot here, and it's 2 frets higher than where the 12th fret is. 2 frets lower, sorry, than where the 12th fret is. So here it is, and again we're using the same technique. We're barring across the 3rd and 4th strings with our index finger of our left hand, and then we're plucking them with our pick, okay? There we go. Now the final chord in the song that the final new chord that we need to learn rather, is the same thing, but now we're moving up to the 12th fret. So we're moving quite high up the neck here. So all you have to do is exactly the same thing of what you've done before. The frets are smaller, but again, that doesn't make it any more difficult, okay? So don't get caught in that trap of thinking, oh, this is for advanced players. Not at all. You can learn all this stuff right now, okay? So again, 12th fret, barring with my index finger, and then plucking with my pick on the 3rd and 4th strings. There we go. And then the song finally ends with 1 strum across the 3rd and 4th strings, just completely open this time, so we're not fretting anything for this last one. We're ending on the same note that we started with, okay? Like that. So that whole ending section altogether goes like this. So you've learnt that full ending to the song. So once again, practice it nice and slowly at first. You don't have to play it at full tempo right away. The important thing is just to make sure that the notes are clean and to make sure that your fingers are as relaxed as you can get them, okay? So when I say they're really nice and relaxed, you'll know if they're too tense because your muscles will start hurting in your hand. So if that happens, that means that you could injure yourself by playing guitar and then you won't be able to play. So please don't do that, okay? It's normal to have a bit of pain in the tips of your fingers or in your skin. That's normal because obviously you're pressing on the strings, and the string is a thin metal wire, so it's quite sharp. So it's normal to have a bit of skin pain just while you're learning within the first few weeks. But if you get any muscular pain whatsoever, don't carry on. Have a break and come back to it later, because otherwise you'll end up injuring yourself or causing bad habits or other things that you really don't want in your guitar playing, okay? So practice slowly and keep relaxed and you should get it down. So for this final bit, I thought I'd give you a bit of motivation, because it can be really hard when you're a beginner guitar player, you've only just started playing and everything seems so difficult, you know, it's all overwhelming, you've got lots to learn, there's all the different strings, all the different frets, it all seems really hard to press down, the skin on your fingers hurts. So the main thing here that I need to tell you is that it does not require natural talents to play guitar. If you try these riffs for 5-10 minutes or even for an hour and you still can't get them down, that's okay. Some people will get it down really quickly, others will take a bit more time, okay? But you can learn to play the guitar, even if you think you've got no natural talent whatsoever. So I hear some people saying things like, oh, yeah, but I'm tone deaf. I can't listen to music and know what's going on, you know, I can't sing. That's okay, I can't sing either, but nobody is tone deaf. Unless you've got a medical condition or something wrong with your ears, then you are not tone deaf. If you can tell the difference between this note and this note, then you are not tone deaf. Because if someone's tone deaf, that means they literally can't tell the difference between a low note and a high note. But I'm assuming if you're watching this video and you can tell the difference between those two notes, then you absolutely can, okay? And if you can tell the difference between those two notes, then you've got all of the aural skills that you need to start learning to play guitar. Now the other thing that I hear a lot of people saying is that they haven't got a sense of rhythm, and oh no, I don't have a sense of rhythm, I can't do that, I can't clap in time or anything. That's also not true. Everybody has a sense of rhythm, okay? If you see two people walking along the street next to each other and they're having a conversation, their heads will bob at the same time because it makes it easier to talk to each other. Now that is having a sense of rhythm, okay? If you've got music on in your ears, when you're, say, out for a run, you'll run in time with the music. That's why people have tailor-made running playlists, because if they listen to a playlist that's too slow, then they'll run too slow, and if they listen to a playlist that's too quick, then they'll run too quickly and burn out after half a mile, okay? So you are not tone deaf, and you do have a sense of rhythm. Remember that, everybody does. It's a natural human trait to have a sense of rhythm and be able to follow a basic beat. Now that doesn't mean that it won't take time to apply that to the guitar. Of course it will. Rhythmic skills do take time to develop. If you're going to do something complex, then that requires practice. If we take a great drummer, say John Bonham from Led Zeppelin, he's obviously got a very good sense of rhythm, and that took practice to develop. He'd been playing for years and it showed in his drumming. He was brilliant, okay? And you can develop a similar sense of rhythm for the guitar. All it takes is practice. So stick with it, enjoy yourself, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.